everybody. I'm at the Mesa Cemetery in Arizona, and I've done a lot of great videos, but this one I'm doing especially for, well, my dad. My dad's big on country music, turned me, well, I don't know if he turned me on to it, but I first started listening to country because of my dad and because I had no choice. But today we're going to go see the grave of one of country's outlaw men, Waymore Jennings, buried right here in Mesa, Arizona. This should be interesting. I got a couple stories to tell about Waylon, how he got the name Waymore, the Buddy Holly days, how he gave up his seat to the Big Bopper, and more and more and more. So let's go find Waylon, and I'll try to tell you how you can find him too. Directly across the street, though, I want to point this out. Look at this. This is home of the Oakland Athletics. This is where they play. It's their spring training home. I gotta say, it's probably a lot nicer than the Oakland Stadium that they're leaving, because I've been to that one, and not something to write home about. But we're gonna head in, and I'm gonna see how this goes. As you can see, this is a really big cemetery.
That was all over me, and kind of plumb spooky thinking I'd caused it, you know. But I was just a kid. I never been nowhere. I just got off the turnip truck, man.
So we've made it to Waylons Grave. I got to say, this is very easy to find. So when you enter on the main street where I entered the Mesa Cemetery, each row, I've never seen this before, is named street. So it's like 1st Street, 2nd Street, so on, so on. Waylon's on 9th Street, and once you hit 9th Street, you come down this way, you make your first left, and from the first trash can right here, right where I'm parked, you walk 4 rows over, and you'll see Waylon Jennings. Waymore Jennings. June 15th, 1937, February 13th, 2002. Now, it's said that Waylon died of diabetes in his sleep. And this was the true outlaw of country music. Waylon is something else. Keep motorcycle free. Suspect your local joker, I guess that says. A lot of pics have been left behind for Waylon. Like I was saying, Waylon got his start too with Buddy Holly, and Buddy Holly loved him, and his first record actually didn't do that well, but he did play bass. He learned bass and played bass on the Winter Dance Party, where the Big Bopper and Ritchie Valens and Buddy Holly were all performing that fateful night, that the day the music died. And they were having issues, and they were in Iowa, and while they were driving, Waylon already had a seat on the plane, and it said that Buddy told him, hey, is it cool if the Big Bopper takes your spot? And supposedly they flipped for it. And jokingly, Buddy Holly said to Waylon something along the lines of, I hope you freeze on that bus. And Waylon said back to Buddy jokingly, I hope your plane crashes. And now it was said that Waylon obviously felt absolutely horrible about that, because Waylon loved Buddy and thought he was just an incredible person. Another person, Buddy Holly, it's weird to think about how much music he's like responsible for. I mean, even Trini Lopez, If I Had a Hammer, Buddy Holly's dad was the one that told Trini to go out to LA, and that's where Trini went, met Frank Sinatra and so many other people, and had his whole career out there, another Texan, just like Waylon. So it's kind of cool to be here on this March morning with Waylon. He had a really interesting...
Well, I hope your bus freezes up again. And, you know, a kid, I said, well, I hope your plane crashes.
So Waylon decided to be buried out here, and people think it is kind of weird, but he did live in Chandler, Arizona. Waylon also dealt with substance abuse. At one point it was said, and he has said this, a 7-gram a day cocaine habit. And Waylon lived with Johnny Cash in Nashville for a bit. Another guy that he knew, and people are always asked, did Waylon and Elvis know each other? And Waylon told a story about how he was in Vegas and he ran into Elvis, and Elvis wanted to meet him a few times, and he said he busted up his wrist and he was wearing a splint, and Elvis referred to him as, check out this hillbilly. Pretty interesting coming from Elvis Presley. So weird being here by such a iconic person. You don't really think, well, I mean, the younger generation probably doesn't think of Waylon as much as the older does, but it's cool. It's inscripted on there. Clean this off before I get out of here. It says, I am my beloved's is mine, a loving son, husband, father, and grandfather. Like I was saying, there's a bunch of pics here. And on this side it has, watch out for my shadow, I'm sorry about that. A vagabond, dreamer, a rhymer, and singer of songs, a revolutionary in country music, beloved by the world. Which is true, and there's many cool Waylon stories, and one of the cool Waylon stories is when they were doing We Are the World, and Waylon walked off because Stevie Wonder started singing in Swahili, and Waylon wasn't having that, and he walked off the stage during We Are the World in the 80s. I think that's just too good.
And they don't have that many helicopters going over. They tried to tell me to ride that helicopter, and I sent them a note.
Yeah, what'd the note say?
You really want to hear it right now?
Sure.
No, I just told myself I think I'll pass in country slang.
So I was just talking to these nice people out here that were paying respects to. They actually lost their grandfather. That was an Air Force fighter jet pilot that, instead of bailing his plane out while he was testing this plane and the plane was going down, she showed me the picture, died in the plane so he didn't kill a neighborhood full of people. Pretty amazing. But back to Waylon. Okay, back to Waylon. They were talking about Waylon. They said, my uncle's over here, and they said, we got to come over here and see Waylon, and we're got to take some photos for family back in North Carolina. So everyone comes by to see Waymore. Now, Waymore was his nickname that he got from his guitarist, Ralph Mooney, and the reason why, my shadow again, I'm sorry about that. The reason why he's got the name Waymore is because Waylon Jennings always did way more, and so they nicknamed him Waymore. And then down here again, my shadow, sorry about that, the Waylon insignia that you can see right there with the wings. Pretty darn cool. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame too, the Country Hall of Fame. And Waylon, when it was all said and done, had 60 albums, 16 #1 hits over 5 decades. Now that's pretty impressive, to say the least.
Good to be here, you know. Look around here, I can't see all them bad things they've been saying on TV.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, tell me, what's the latest news from Nashville?
Well, you know about Charlie Daniels, you know, taking a day job and everything like that, selling snuff.
That.
As I was saying, I still have other videos to do while I'm out here in Mesa. I'm heading over to another location, another video now. Knocking them all out today. It's a Saturday, I'm going crazy. It's a fire sale of vlogs. But like this video if you like this video. Send me a comment. Send me some information about Waylon if you got it. I love hearing the stories about this guy. They just keep coming out. I mean, the guy passed away, I believe, when he was around 64 years old. But the stories about this guy, just one after another, just a character, man. This guy led quite a life. Like I said, over 5 decades of music. And I mean, he did the Highwaymen too, which was Willie Nelson, Johnny Cash, Chris Christopherson, if I'm not mistaken, was the group that he started with them. But him and Willie had somewhat of a hit or miss relationship, I was reading too. Willie would also say that too. I think Waylon was just kind of a hard guy to get along with, just because he had such a strong personality. Now maybe it wasn't that hard, but his personality was just really, you know, strong driven. But with that being said, like this video if you like this video, please consider subscribing. It helps on my way to 3,000 subscribers. You know, I still remember when I had 2 subscribers, me and myself. I had 2. I was the first 2, but now I have a few more thanks to you guys in the videos that I put out. Hopefully I make some decent content and keep it captivated for at least 30 seconds.
And man, I had to live with that for years.
Buddy Holly said goodbye to his band and headed for the airport.
One more thing, I always like to leave behind a little something. Today is no different. Well, Waylon, gone too soon for sure. You know, I really grew up in the 80s, so listening or watching the Dukes of Hazzard, the Good Old Boys, man, Waylon was prominently there. You know, I watched that religiously as a little kid. I love the Dukes of Hazzard. So, thank you, Waylon. Rest in peace.
Fighting the system like a true modern day Robin Hood.